welcome back to the 2-Minute Drill. My name is Nate Lewis. I'm the Area Director for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in West Central Nebraska. This week's topic has been leadership, and when I think about the idea of leadership, I just think that leadership is simply influence. It's your influence in the life of someone else, and I think that when you consider what the Bible has to say about leadership, there's some really great examples and models of leadership in the Bible. One of those examples is the Apostle Paul. God had used Paul to be able to build some awesome relationships with people, and he had used those relationships to be able to share the message of what Jesus had done for us on the cross to make us right with God, and what he had done when we had risen from the dead and given us hope of being with him forever and ever. And you know, it's awesome to think how God had used him over the years to be able to spread that message. But one special group of people that he had a great amount of influence over were the Philippians. He wrote an awesome letter to the Philippians in the New Testament. I want to read a little bit of that to you. In chapter 1, starting in verse 12, he says, "I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel, so that it has become known throughout the whole imperial guard and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. And most of the brothers, having become confident in the Lord by my imprisonment, are much more bold to speak the word without fear." And so the Philippians understood that Paul was in jail for Christ, and they loved Paul because they had a great relationship with Paul. And so as they learned this stuff, they ended up going out and speaking the word that much more without fear, because their confidence in the Lord and how God was going to use that to be able to spread the message of Christ that much more. And so as you think about how this happened and how they got to the point where they had that kind of a relationship with one another, you just know that didn't just happen right away. Paul had invested a significant amount of time in the Philippians. As you go back to Acts chapter 16, you learn that as he stopped there and he started a church there, which took time, right? He also shares that he stayed there for some days, is what it says. So we don't know exactly the amount of time, but we know it was a significant amount of time. So my encouragement to you today is to spend time investing in people. Invest in people the truth of God's word. Invest in people the gospel message, what Jesus has done for us on the cross. Help them to understand how they can honor God with their life because of that message. And God's going to use you in a mighty way as you invest that time in people.